Make time to get everything that's going on in your brain out on paper so you can figure out what all is taking up space, what all is taking up my energy. Does it need to be there? Does it need to be moved somewhere else? Is it something that I can resolve quickly and make a plan to make it just a better place to be? Welcome to the Love Your Brain podcast, the podcast designed for everyday people who are ready to hop off the negative thought hamster wheel and enjoy a less hostile environment in their own brains. Our brains are where we live our entire lives, and I'm on a mission to help people see that they have everything they need to make it a happier place to be. So join us for this episode of the Love Your Brain podcast. Let's get started. Before we get started on this week's episode, I did want to give you a little insider information, and that is that in the coming weeks, we are going to be having some pretty cool stuff coming out. And so, if you are not already, please make sure you are subscribed to the podcast so that as that information becomes available, you know about it right away. Share it with the people that you care about so that they can know too. I think the things that will be coming out are going to be really helpful tools for you that you can use to actually make a difference in how you experience the life in your own brain. And that's what it's all about. So don't forget, subscribe, and come along on this journey. I'm really excited. But let's go ahead and get started with this week's episode. Welcome back to the podcast. This week, we are going to take care of some things. We are going to clean some stuff out. We are going to have a fresh start. Let me tell you, some of us are really treating our brains like we're that junk drawer in the kitchen, like just throwing all the things in there, trying to forget that they're there, but the drawer is overflowing. When we try to open the drawer, it's like getting stuck on some random rinky-dink thing that we got from a fair last year that why are we even holding on to that anymore? There is so much that's going on in our brains that we don't even pay attention to. So periodically, it's a really good thing to make time to go through all of that, figure out what's going on in there. And honestly, it can really help us to refocus going forward, making sure that the way that we're moving through life and the way that we're focusing on our thoughts and feelings is meaningful to us, that it's not filled with weird rinky dink things that came from somewhere that we don't even care about, right? So today we are going to go through that drawer. We're going to figure out what goes where, what needs to be sorted, what's important, what's not, what can kind of go on the back burner, but what needs to be taken care of right away. So we are going to do this by doing what I call a good old-fashioned brain dump. And this is something that I like to see almost like a Sunday reset. If you're someone that's ever done that, Sunday resets are really nice because you can organize your space, get everything ready to go for the next week, sort things out, clean up the messes from last week, and be able to move forward in a way that's more clear, more guided, more meaningful to you, and just less stressful in general. Because honestly, our brains get inundated with so much stuff, and what we don't realize is that there's all these tabs open in the background running. All that junk that we've thrown in there, it's taking up space, it is taking up energy, it is taking up mental load. And what that means is when we are doing those really meaningful things in our life, we aren't able to put as much energy and focus on them because we have all this other stuff going on. So we are going to sort through that with our brain dump today. We are going to figure out what is important, what we need to focus on, what can go, what things do we just need to honor and create space for, and what things can we start just taking off the list altogether. So I'm really excited to go through this with you today, and I'm going to go through this in detail. If you are someone that really likes to know how to make this whole thing happen, I'm going to give you all the details to make this happen in a really, really clear way. So if you want to get something down, start taking notes because I'm going to get you ready to roll and ready to take action on this brain dump. So to start, I'm going to give you just some options as to how you want to do this. And for me, I like to do this on a computer. Ideally, I like to actually do it in Excel. You can, or Google Sheets, whatever is your fancy. If you're someone that wants to do it in like a Word document, that's fine as well. If you're someone that really just prefers to write on paper, that's fine too. Whatever method is going to be the easiest for you is fine with me. But you will understand once we get to the end why the methods I'm telling you are kind of the best way to do it, because it might make it easier down the road. But again, whatever works best for you, pick the path. So what we are going to do is we are going to get into that place where we're going to be typing or writing. We're going to have our paper and our pen, or we're going to have our computer. We're going to have everything else muted. Put your phone on do not disturb. Get somewhere comfortable. Get yourself a good drink to have. And we are going to sit down and we are going to do a big old brain dump. Okay, so we are going to have, the only thing I would say is maybe if you want to use like a timer, that can be helpful. And the reason why I say that is because I see people a lot of times like do their brain dump, and I'll explain a little bit more what that is here in a second, but they'll do it and they think, oh my gosh, I'm done. And it's been like 2 minutes. And usually I'm like, are you sure there's not more? And there is always so much more. So I would say set your timer for like 10 minutes. And then you can do that check after the 10 minutes and see if there is more. And there might even be more. But really give yourself a decent amount of time, even though it may feel uncomfortable and weird to sit there doing this for that long. Trust me, there's more in there. So we are going to sit down with our writing utensil, our computer, and our timer set for 10 minutes. And we are going to write down or type out each thought that we are having on each line. If you're doing it in Excel, I would say do it all in one cell. And as you're going through these thoughts that are coming up, don't let them stop. Don't judge them. Just write them down, just record them. You're going to record each thought on each line kind of as concisely as you can. And as your brain kind of bops around, just go with it. Whatever is coming up for you, put it down on paper. Now, some of these things are going to seem really goofy. Maybe they're going to be like, oh my gosh, the toilet paper in the downstairs bathroom is about to run out. I need to put new toilet paper there. Okay, write it down. Maybe it's going to be big things for you. Like, I really hate the school district that my kids are in right now. It's causing me so much stress. Or maybe it's that I really wish my relationship with my dad was better. Whatever it is, do not judge it. Big and small, we're going to write them all down. Maybe it's something like, I have so much anxiety today, or I'm feeling really sad. Whatever it is, you're going to write it down, anything that's popping in your head. And like I said, set that timer for 10 minutes, give yourself plenty of time. And even once you think that you're done, sit there for another minute and ask yourself, is there anything else coming up for me? And maybe for you, this is going to take 30 minutes or an hour. That's fine, especially if this isn't something that you've done before. You might have a lot of stuff coming up for you. We're going to put it all down on paper or on the computer. So we've got our list in front of us. We've got it all done. Take a deep breath and give yourself a pat on the back. It is heavy work to sort through all those thoughts that are in our brains. Our brains cannot be treated like junk chores. You know why? Because that's where we live our entire life. Our entire life happens through the lens of our brains. So let's take the time, put the effort in to make it tidy. And that's what you're doing today. And you need to give yourself a round of applause. Now, next, I want you to look at this list and I want you to see if anything pops out to you in terms of categories. What I mean by that is maybe you're looking at it and you're immediately seeing some of these things fall into this category. Maybe it's like work stuff or school stuff or whatever. That's fine. You might be immediately seeing categories pop out for you. I like to color coordinate categories, but let me also share with you the categories that I typically use because it might really help you in this process. Now, for me, my categories are based on 3 things. Usually I find the best way for me to figure it out is I'm going to have one category that's emotions, it's thoughts, it's reflections, it's feelings. Those all are one category for me. The next category I have is little things, like those little tiny things that are cluttering up space in there, like that toilet paper reference, like that I need to go put that toilet paper on, fill up the toilet paper downstairs. Those are going to be things that are like very quick. Like those are thoughts that you might be having that you could like have resolve for pretty quickly. They could be tasks that could be resolved without much effort. So that's going to be its own category, all those things that are tiny. Then the next category I have is big things. These are going to be things that are kind of big fish to fry, all right? They're going to be maybe they're big goals, maybe they're just big annoyances, maybe they're big tasks that have a lot of steps, maybe they're just dreams that you have about the future, maybe they're anything. Big, big, big things. Okay. Those are going to be their own category. So for me, those are the three categories that I have. I've got my feelings, my emotions section. I've got the small little thing section, and then I've got my big section. Okay. And I'm going to take a color and I'm going to color code each of those categories so I can easily look at my list and see where each of those things fall. Now, if you're using Word or Excel, it's pretty easy to, either highlight in a color or highlight a cell in a color. If you're doing this on paper, use a physical highlighter in different colors. You're going to highlight each of those lines according to the category that they are. So now you've got your 3 categories or however many categories feels right for you. And what we're going to do is we are going to first, I like to prioritize my emotions category. And I'm doing that because I personally am working on really just creating a better relationship with myself. And so it's really important for me to make time to honor that part of myself. So I'm going to look at my emotions category, my feelings category, and I'm just going to take a moment and I'm going to honor it. I'm going to be still. I'm going to look at all those things that came out and I'm going to appreciate them. I'm going to give them gratitude for being there. And I'm going to tell them that I am going to prioritize making space for them in some way moving forward. I don't need to figure that out today. Some of these things we may not even have the brain space to figure out today, but it's important that we build that trust with ourselves that we are going to make time for that. That's a whole other podcast episode, but we are going to make time to prioritize our feelings, our emotions, our thoughts that are all sitting there in front of us right now. Okay. So that is what we're doing with our emotions category today. Next up, we have got our small task category and our big category, right? I want you to look at both of these and I want you to put them in order of importance. When it comes to the ordering of this list, this is why it's really best for me personally to use some type of computer document, whether that's Excel. I like to use Excel and then I can just move the cells around. If you're using a word processing document, you can cut and paste each line. If you're using paper, you can also just number the importance, or you can actually physically cut out each line and order them that way. But for me, using it on a computer makes it a little bit faster, and that's why I choose to use that route. But back to importance. Now, when I say importance, what I want you to hear from me is important to you, and that could mean anything. And this is really meaningful because the problem a lot of the time with how we focus on thoughts and how we spend our time is often based on outer forces. Maybe it's people around us or societal influences or things in the media. We are prioritizing our thoughts and our time based on those. But today, when we are taking this time to sort through what's in our brains, we are going to actually prioritize in terms of what's important to us. That could be something that maybe is just annoying you by the amount of brain space it's taking up or how many times it's popping in your brain a day. That could be why it's going to be important to you. That's great. Maybe it's important to you because of your values. Maybe something on that list is really important to you because it's really meaningful to you. Maybe something on your list is, I need to call my Aunt Judy because she's always been really important to me and she's been coming to mind a lot lately and I just want to check in on her. That could be really important to you and that's great. That needs to be prioritized. So we are going to take both your small list and your big list and put them in order of your importance. What's important for you to focus your brain energy on or to take off the list because you need to get it done and taken care of, okay? So you've now got your 2 lists in order of importance, your smallest and your big list. Now, the fun part about this is we are going to look at our big list for a second and we're going to see for those big things that usually have a big heart pull for us. Is there something that we can do to turn one of those big things or a couple of those big things on the list that are at the top of your list and just create one small thing, a small task that we can do to get the momentum going towards addressing those things on your list. So maybe these, like I said, are big goals for you. Is there one step you could take that would help get you there? And what's happening here is you are taking maybe a couple of the most important things on your big list. You're going to create a small task to address each of those, and you're going to move them to your small list. Okay? So, again, maybe these are, I'll give you some examples. Maybe a big thing on your list is you hate spending the holidays at your Uncle Jerry's house. Okay? Now, that sounds kind of big right now, but what is one small thing that you could do that would be a really quick thing that you could do that would at least get momentum going? First of all, towards addressing that, but also just creating a little bit of trust in yourself that you are going to prioritize the things that are important to you. And maybe the holidays have been really draining because you really hate spending time there, and you are going to take one small step to address that. So we've got our list. We've got, like I said, maybe 3 things on your big list that you now have pulled out a small thing that you can do to work towards addressing those top three big things, and you're going to move them to your small list. So now you've got your small list, you've got the 3 that you just added, for example, and then you've got all those other small things on there. And this could be a slew of things, right? It could be things like, going off and dropping off a donation that's been sitting in your car for 3 months. It could be, just sending a text message to someone, letting them know that you're thinking of them. It could be scheduling a doctor appointment that you've been putting off, okay? I want you to go ahead and think about your week, and there's 7 days in a week. Let's pick the top 7, remembering that within those top 7, we're going to incorporate those 3 small things that we plan to do to address the bigger ones that we talked about. So you've got probably about 4 that you can take just straight up off the top from your smallest. So we've now got 7 things on our brain dump list. 3 of them came from our big list that we made tangible, tiny little steps. And then 4 of them are going to be some of the top most important ones on our small list. And those we're going to tackle in this coming week. Each day of the week, we're going to do one of those things. That's it, just one of them. Now, ideally, this hopefully creates some momentum for you that you'll continue to do that, right? But it at least gets you started. It gets you crossing off things that have been in the queue of your brain probably for days, weeks, months, years, who knows, and gets them out of there. And a lot of times when I talk to people about this, there is fear of making the wrong move, especially when it comes to some of those bigger things. But let me tell you, there is so much liberation in at least taking a step, even if it's not the right one. Because if it's not the right one, you'll figure it out. So don't let that slow you down. So many of us stay just in this limbo of not committing to moving forward in any direction, and we end up so unsatisfied. So at least pick a step that feels meaningful to you today, that feels right for you today. And if it's not right, you can move differently forward, okay? We can change our minds. We can do differently next time. But pick some steps that are going to be meaningful to you. And this is so helpful to look at your week this way. You don't need to look at your daunting to-do list anymore in your brain and be like, oh my gosh, there's so much to get done that I can't tackle. You're only tackling one thing a day, and those are things that are now prioritized in terms of what's important to you, not the people around you, not what the news is saying is on fire today. These are the things that are important to you. Because here's the deal. All those things that came out in your brain dump are things that were taking up space in your brain. And you want your brain to be organized. You want it to be clear. And you want it to be focusing its energy on the things that are meaningful and are of value to you. And the best way to do that is to take the time to figure out what that is. So this brain dump, I honestly think it's great to do maybe once a week to kind of refocus, just like a Sunday reset would be, where you tidy up things, you figure out what you've got, reorganize them, and figure out how you want to move forward in a meaningful way. But maybe for you, it doesn't need to happen that frequently. That works too. But make time to get everything that's going on in your brain out on paper so you can figure out what all is taking up space? What all is taking up my energy? Does it need to be there? Does it need to be moved somewhere else? Is it something that I can resolve quickly and make a plan to make it just a better place to be? Because your brain is where you live your entire life. That's how you experience the life around you. So take the time to make it a fun place to be. All right. Have a great week, guys. I hope you found something helpful here today on the Love Your Brain podcast. Maybe a laugh or a feeling of validation, or maybe just a few moments to have company while you do your laundry. Whatever you take from it, I hope you enjoyed your time and leave feeling empowered to be more you every day. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on the next episode, and leave a review. I'd love to hear what you think. Have a great one.